Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
I'm just gonna go
Good
for a walk. So I'll
morning.
turn my camera off so you don't get seasick here.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi. How are you guys?
We're good. It's Wacky Wednesday.
Hi, Karen. I don't know
This
if
is
she...
Hi.
Hi, you guys. And Oli, I hope you're not ready to kill me from having to get kits to everybody. I almost came on a train to Williston.
Sorry I didn't get back to you. It's been a little crazy.
I figured, I know you always got a lot going on. So, well, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to Karen Squires because you guys will have enough of me seeing me at the job fair next week for a couple of days. And I'm so thrilled Karen Squires is here to do this training. So I'm sure we might have I don't know if we have a few more people still logging on. Probably. Let me see here. Yeah, we have Minot, Folk Rehab. I know they're planning on logging in.
Okay, I've got a couple more coming on, so.
Good, awesome. Oh, there's Amy. So she's Williston Folk Rehab. Karen, that's coming. That's Amy
Okay.
that's coming on, just so you know. Carla Olson, they're all from Williston High School in Williston, North Dakota. And then we have Northern Plains. You're Jennifer, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jennifer. So Jennifer has the Let's Discover kits. So those are a little different than everybody else's kits. Jennifer is an elementary sped teacher. So the kits are a little different, Jennifer. Your kits are going to be different than the other kits, but I think Karen can help you through that.
Yep, I'm gonna try
Okay.
to explain all of that today.
Awesome. And then I know we have a few from, I know Dawn from Minot Folk Rehab is coming on, and there's a few others, Holly and Cindy, our other counselors, Folk Rehab counselors there, they're connecting right now. And then Shauna, you see her, Shauna she's kind of running the show with the CEC. And
I've been impressed. Yeah.
She's been the one that's partnered with me. Carla Olson, we call her Oli, just so you know, in Williston, helped connect me with Shauna and, Tim Hagan, the owner of Project Discovery. I know who he is, had this idea to do this job fair in Maine, and he told me about it, and I jumped all over it, and Shauna and Oli started talking about it. And so this is the first ever job fair, guys. We're doing it in North Dakota before anyone else. So we're leading the way here. So hi, Dawn.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. Heidi Johnson. So Dawn is Minot Folk Rehab, Karen, just so you know.
Okay.
So I think we have everybody on. So I'm just gonna mute myself and turn it over to you, Karen, okay?
Well, very good.
And if you guys need me, obviously just let me know, and I'm here to answer questions. So
All right. Well, I'm going to say hello. I'm going to start screen sharing in just a second. So I wanted to make sure before I share my screen to make sure everybody is in and everybody is settled in. When you see the first screen, you're going to see that there's a QR code. It's just for me, for you to sign in so that I can have documentation of who I've had in the room. So if you've got your little phone, just do the QR and sign in. What I do want to make sure is that as we're getting ready to go through all of this, that you have a way that you can look at the flash drive that you've gotten if you are one of the presenters. And don't think that I am thinking that you're looking at everything else but me. It's okay. That's not a problem for me. I'm used to teenagers. So, they don't ever look you in the eye. So that's perfectly fine. Not a problem. I've got one more coming on right now, and I'm going to give it just a second more. I'm Karen. I have been working with Project Discovery since 2009. I've been training for them since 2011. And I can tell you I'm much better in person than I am online, but I think everybody's that way. It's just that Southern charm comes through a little bit better when you're standing in front of everybody in all my glory. I mean, it just is. So just keep in mind that I may talk slow, but I promise I'll speed it up if you tell me to. I promise. Don't think that you can't ask me a question. Just stop me. I'll answer any question. Heidi told you this is the first job fair that's ever been done. Well, guess what? It's the first job fair training that's ever been done too. So welcome to my show. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I think that's our last one that's come on. And I'm going to share my screen, get you ready to go. Make sure that you are positioned to sit back, hang on for this ride, because we're going to cover about 5 hours worth of training in 2 hours. So hold on, people. This could be hilarious before this is over with. Okay. Share this one. Let's see. Yep, there's my screen. So I hope at this point in time you're actually seeing a screen that says welcome. If not, please raise your hand, because, I don't always do things correctly, and that's okay. There's your QR code. Go ahead, sign in for me. I won't be checking them right now. The only thing I'll be checking is to make sure that we stay on time, because I know you have to get in and get out. So don't worry about making sure about staying on time. I promise I'm going to be checking the talk as well. And if we have questions afterwards and someone needs to stay on a little bit longer, we've got a little bit of time to do that. First off, while you're signing in, I need to know a little bit. I've read everything that Heidi put out about what you're going to be doing, but I need to know just a little bit about how you are actually going to be interacting with the curriculum in this first session that you're doing at the job fair. So who wants to jump in?
I probably should, I think,
Okay.
Karen. I mean, I don't know if anyone else knows, and I'm just going to give it my best shot. So
Go
what
for
we're
it.
doing is there's a North Dakota CEC conference, and it for the one day, there's 3 different sessions, and they're 3-hour-long sessions. And so the job fair is one of those sessions. And we're going to start out the sessions. It's in an atrium, and we're going to have 12 tables. You've kind of seen the different table lists and things. And so we're 6 of those tables are going to be project discovery tables. They all will have both well, with the exception of the Let's Discover kit and the electricity kit, all of the other kits will have both the general curriculum and the adapted curriculum. And then, of course, the set of supplies. The electricity kit does not come in adapted, so that will just be the electricity kit. And then the Let's Discover kit, of course. And then we're going to have 2 or 3 pays tables, and that's, you don't need to worry about that too much, but that's just students that are going to be showing off their pays jobs. And then we're going to have a sales table. That'll be me, Work Life Ready. And then Voc Rehab is going to have a table, North Dakota State Voc Rehab. Okay. And so we'll start out in a different room from the atrium, and I'm going to do a quick overview of Pays Lab. Tim Hagen's coming into town. He's going to do a quick dog and pony on project discovery for all of the attendees. And the attendees are going to be educators. They're going to be teachers and educators and maybe some admins, people that are interested in transition, or they wouldn't be at the job fair, right? And so those are our job fair attendees. And so after Tim, then I'm having this Lisa Marie Clinton, it's a new product line I brought on, Avail by Central Reach, which is digitized program for task analysis. Unbelievable. That's in DOR, you know, in other states. And anyway, she's going to speak, and we have an Avail table too. Okay. After that, then we're going to go on and we're going to have a job fair. The job fair will have the 12 tables. We have, I believe, like almost 30 people signed up, maybe more. I don't know how many yet, but these are all the educators, and they're going to come through and have an opportunity to go through and just see the different project discovery tables. And what we're hoping is that each of the project discovery tables will be able to show 1 or 2 activities as the teachers come by, or at least show the kid, or maybe show some of the curriculum components, or interact with them and tell them how it works. So that's my quick rundown. Did I miss anything, Shauna?
I was just going to talk about the space a little bit. It's a very fun, interactive space. There's the bookstore is there. We have a little Starbucks in the Beaver Dam. So people will probably, not have to join that all at once. Some might go get a coffee and then come back and meander through. So I think it's going to be fun, really fun in that setting for people to explore the kids.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
I think that, and having short spurts of where you've got somebody coming in and being able to either talk about it or show them a little bit of an activity will be a great opportunity for everyone. I'm excited. I just to be able to be involved in that has to be kind of an exciting moment. So, well, very good. I think I do have an idea then. You read about things, but then you think, yeah, but what are the people who are doing it actually saying? So
Karen, can I add one more thing? This is just my observation working in 6 different states. When I go to North Dakota, I see a wonderful collaboration between DOR, VR in their world. We're going to call it VR in North Dakota, VR and educators working together and collaborating. And I've always have been impressed by that. And so what we did at this job fair is we have educators and VR people working tables together for that reason. So I just wanted to let you know that as well.
Well, that's an exciting moment. I can tell you, I'm from a very small rural school district in Louisiana. So our rehab people come in very sparingly. We're not close to any big city. So most of our folks work in a larger environment. So we get to see them once a year usually. So it is fabulous that everyone is working together. I think that's wonderful. We're going to go ahead. We're going to jump in, and I'm going to attempt to make sure that all of this is keeping up. What I want you to do is, if you can, turn your cameras on. I may not be able to see you sometimes, but at least then you can interact a little bit. If you can't keep your camera on because of the fact that you're sitting like I am at home, because I retired this last week, it's the most wonderful thing in the world. I've been in education for 33 years and have been the special education director and then the director of curriculum for the last 6 years. So it's wonderful to be at home, but then again, you're not always does my internet work. So sometimes I may go in and out too. You never know. The only thing I'll tell you is jump in. I won't see you raise your hand on the chat or anything else. So jump in and ask a question anytime you want to. And for goodness sakes, laugh about my accent, because I'm having a good time with all of yours too. So it's all good. Okay. So as we get started and as I give you an overview of who the company is and what they're looking at, you're looking at the vision and the mission of the Education Associates, and especially the project discovery. Knowing that all students and wanting to make sure that all students can be their best selves. And then the mission is to make a difference, to lend a hand, to empower, to support, to make sure that everyone is able to go out into the world of work. I'm going to say a lot of things today about being out in the world of work. I'll talk to you about being able to talk the talk, knowing the vocabulary. But what I want you to keep in mind is that in everything, it's about making sure that our clientele, our students, are able to do what they want to do in the capacity that they are able to do it. So pushing them as far as we can push them and letting them realize their potential. I'll also tell you a little bit about why I got into this, just a little, but it's because everything that you're going to see today is so extremely teacher friendly that I was able to take two ladies, implement 90% of the products that they had at the time, and work through electricity, small engines. We worked through greenhouse. We did all of the upper level kits before they ever had the adapted version. And we were doing it with two ladies in a room, and they were learning everything that the kids were learning. More importantly, they were able to move through multiple kits at a time because all of this is so teacher friendly and built for teachers to be able to have students involved in all of the demonstrations and in the instruction. So for Education Associates, there are two separate entities. One is the Job Ready, which is what we are going to focus on today. Career Awareness, that's going to be your Let's Discover kits. You've got, I believe, Tourism and Hospitality kit that is there with you. That's going to be more of your elementary, junior high folks. And we're going to look at that for just a few minutes today and go over it. The Career Exploration and the Adapted are where we're going to live today mostly, because when you order the adapted version of this curriculum, you get the Career Exploration version that goes with it. So you get double the bang for your buck in that one as far as the adapted. And I love it because you can cover students from absolutely hand over hand, no speaking ability, very little reading ability, all the way up to students who have a reading ability of about an 8th grade reading ability, and being able to do all of these things by themselves independently. So we're going to talk about those mostly. And then the other is the job skills training. And in the job skills training, that moves up into like 90 days worth of job skills training, and it is phenomenal. That's where we started a long time ago. And then they came into the adapted kits after that. On the other side is the Life Ready, and that's the job prep and the employability skills. That's going to be your soft skills that we know that students need to have in order to keep a job. The green side is going to be how to get one. The blue side is going to be able to keep a job, because we know that students don't keep a job because of soft skills. And then there's independent living skills. Those are going to be your how to do a resume, how to buy a car, how to create meals, those types of things. And then the self-confidence and social skills, and then the health and nutrition. So what is project discovery? Well, I can tell you for us, it's a bunch. There's over 70 kits. There's more than 72 career areas and 3,000 job skills that are in all of these kits. One kit will cover probably 5 or 6 different job areas in each one of them. It's a broad overview. In the Let's Discover, it's going to get specific in the career exploration and in the adapted. And then in the job skills, it's going to get extremely specific. What you need to know is that every bit of this is hands-on and that it's all correlated to your state standards. NOCTI is the nationally validated business standards. Got a question, anybody? We're good? NOCTI is the business standards that they use to make sure that all of the work performance benchmarks and the data sheets are moving students toward being able to complete the skills necessary in those jobs. So what you're going to see is that the vocabulary that you are teaching your students, that the skills that you are teaching your students are all correlated back to national standards of the industries that you are teaching about. So if you're teaching about electricity, then they have worked through what are the competencies that an electrician's helper, someone who's coming in on the ground level of electricity, need to have in order to get into that job. All of the competencies are going to be in your work performance benchmarks that I'm going to show you and in your data sheets that you're going to be looking at. Okay. Vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Reading, reading, reading. I'm going to say that, and I'll say it 100 times before I end today. Vocabulary and the vocabulary of the world of work is what this curriculum is based on. So it's going to be so much reading, gonna be a lot of math that's going to point them back to the skills that they need each and every time as they get into all of the skills. The skills, even in the adapted version, the reasoning skills that are there are pointing them to being the best they can be at work. So you're going to see things like situation cards in the adapted version. You're going to see role plays. You're going to see in the upper versions, you're going to see that everything is based on knowing the vocabulary that is there for every piece of the skills that they are learning. Okay. For us, in my little old parish, we're parishes, not districts. So in my little parish, we had a 50% dropout rate. Now, I'm not talking about special education students. I'm talking about general education students who found absolutely no reason to go to school. 50% were dropping out, and that was in 2008, 2009. We implemented all of this. We got our students to see the need to stay in school. We were pushing them to make sure that they were ready to go out to go to work. We were giving them the vocabulary, teaching them the math skills. We integrated all of this in, as well as English, math, science, and social studies. And we worked it into their day. I can tell you that this past year, we graduated 96% of students in Red River Parish. And that has been the trend for us. We've trended up every year. And we're now at 96%. But at special education students, we graduate 100%. And we graduate them with a high school diploma. Okay. This has been something that we took hold of And we turned our school system around by making sure that students knew the importance of going out to work. Now, this one is talking about IDEA demands and how Project Discovery meets those needs. It's all inclusive. You're going to see hands-on. You're going to see real world. You're going to see that it's correlated to the national standards. But I'm going to tell you, the thing that got me and the thing that got my teachers is because it's teacher friendly. This has every objective done for you. Your lesson plans are done for you. Your activities are done so that it is based on students doing the work. So the evaluations of teachers changed because our teachers were now student-centered and students were moving all of the instruction in the classroom. So being able to say, I now am a facilitator of student learning was what we were able to do. And it's because everything was done for us in the curriculum. So hands-on, it's going to cover multiple learning styles. You're going to see that it's going to cover all of the support you're going to need for special populations. The scaffolding that is in the adapted version is amazing because it allows any student in your classroom, maybe they won't finish out the entire kit. Maybe they can't do every skill in the kit, but it allows them to be a part of everything. And it allows for them to progress toward those transition goals that you're going to ask them to have. And that everything is evidence-based. You've got pre and post test, you've got progress monitoring in all of this. So as you are working through each of the kits, you can pre-test your kids, you can progress monitor them through every one of the skills, and then you're going to post test. So it's going to be up to the teacher as to what kind of evaluation needs they have. Okay. Any questions so far? That is the 2-cent version of going through this as quickly as I can get you through it. How's that? We were able to purchase some of our kits because we got in with the National Dropout Prevention Program way back when. And we use the kits as part of our junior high program to get the junior high kids pumped up to come in. So we started the Let's Discover in the junior high and moved into all of the high school versions as well. So that's how we kind of did it. So I know we've got one person, is that correct? One person who's going to do the career awareness. And say your name again.
It's Jennifer is her name.
Jennifer, I'm talking to you on this one, okay? So I hope you're listening to me. You've got about 7 minutes of instruction coming your way. How's that?
Oh.
Here we go. Okay. In the career awareness, that's going to be the Let's Discover part of it. All right. The Let's Discover part is going to be mostly designed for elementary age kids. Going to be your 5th grade up to your 7th grade, somewhere in there. All of this is done for you, thank goodness. But the career awareness Let's Discover is more geared toward the traditional way that teachers are used to doing everything. It's going to be whole group. It's going to be whole class type of instruction. And it's going to be a way to get kids excited about the world of work. So within each one of the kits, you're going to see that it's going to cover a wide range of not only skills, but awareness of what the careers will be. So for this one, we're going to focus in on travel and tourism and hospitality, but these are the other Let's Discover kits that are there. We absolutely love the human services kit, mostly because it's going to talk about being teachers. It's going to talk about being police officers, all of those kinds of things. The medical careers is fun because you get to have the clinic, the teddy bear clinic. And so they take care of their teddy bears. They do all kinds of stuff in that one. And then the natural resources around here, we are filled with pine trees around here, and that's who we are. We are the pulpwood capital, I think, of North Louisiana. But for us, going into any kind of like wildlife and fisheries, all of the pulpwood things. So we like the natural resources as well. So let's talk a little bit about travel and tourism. In the Let's Discover, on the jump drive, the flash drive that you have, you're going to see different sections. You're going to see a section for instructor's notes, a section for student instructions, and that's going to be divided up into the primary K3 and then the intermediate 4th, 5th grade reading level. So what that tells you is that no matter who's in that classroom that you are working with, you're able to meet the needs because you're going to see a lot of pictures. You're going to see that it's written for those students to be able to complete the skills. Okay. And then in the resource section, you're going to see worksheets, and there's always a certificate. Everybody gets to graduate from whatever skill that they're doing, no matter what. Maybe they're participating, maybe they're actually completing all the skills, but you're going to see that there is a certificate for them. The assessments here are pre-test and post-test. It's PowerPoint and it's got the audio on it. It's done more whole group than anything else because, again, this is a awareness series, okay? But all of the skills within the kit, all of the student instructions, everything is meant for a hands-on lesson, okay? So this is not a sit and get type program. This is get your hands dirty. And I can tell you in the first one that you're going to look at, you're going to get your hands dirty. So this is just a little picture of what the pre-post test looks like, which is a task that a reservation clerk would do. And so they're going to be choosing what the task would be. Another one is who sets up rooms to feed large groups of people. So they're going, this is pre-test, but in the end, they're going to know the answer to that. There's another one that in the question, you're going to calculate the tip of a 6% tip for, I think a meal that costs $25. So there's going to be some math in there. There's going to be a lot of things that they're going to go through. But as you can see, the vocabulary they're going to learn about is banquet managers, recreational directors, chef. So all of these are the vocabulary words that they're going to see as well. Okay. So in the instructor's notes, and this is where as a teacher, you would live for a little while, this is your pre-planning. Okay. So this is that time that you spend making sure that you are ready to do the skills, because the skills are going to be in the student section. The skills are for students. Of course, you're going to have to learn them first. But in the section 1 instructor's notes, it's all about you. It's going to have your overview. It's going to have your notes to teachers. In the notes to teachers, it's going to tell you, you're going to need to get water on this one. You're going to need to make sure that you put them in groups of 4. some other teacher did this one other time and they found that this worksheet worked better. It's going to be notes to you, and it's going to be about making it easier on you before you actually teach the lesson. It's going to show you all the activities, and it's going to teach you what the career clusters are going to be. In other words, if you're in the tourism, you're going to be looking at hotel managers. You're going to be looking at reservation desk people. You're going to be looking at chefs. You're going to look at, it's all the different careers that you possibly could have. And then it's going to have the vocabulary listed for you. The vocabulary that's listed there is going to be the vocabulary they need to be able to pass that post test. So you're going to have a lot more vocabulary than what you see on the list, but that's going to be that necessary vocabulary. And then your lesson plans are done for you. The objective is there. You can cut and paste it. Okay. All you have to do is the learner will. Okay. It will tell you what's in the kit and how to get it. It's going to tell you what's needed outside of the kit. And it's going to give you an overview of how to actually implement it. What you need to do. Do you need to call in someone as a guest speaker? Do you need to have 3 groups of students? Do you need to make sure that you are preparing for like a messy activity, that sort of thing? And then it's going to tell you how long it's going to take. It's going to be 2 hours that's going to take to do this activity. You can break it up in 30-minute sessions. And then it's going to have your follow-up activities. So this just shows you in the Let's Discover in the travel and tourism, these are the activities that are in this kit. So let's discover the careers of travel, tourism, and hospitality. What makes hotels and motels work? Making a reservation, not only at a hotel, but making a reservation at a dining facility as well. Let's set the table. And I think that's the activity that y'all may be using at this point in time, how to actually set a table. But then again, it's going to talk about how to keep your hands clean when you're setting a table, why you have to wash your hands, why you have to do a few things. So it's going to go into the science part of this as well. What is food service? We have a wonderful culinary arts program now. And I'll do a side note. The lady that started the Project Discovery kits for me, one of the 2 ladies, the teacher decided that she wanted to pursue the culinary arts after that. So she went back to chef school and we put her through that. And now she runs a beautiful kitchen and is our Pro Start culinary arts teacher for everyone in our high school. So it's fabulous. This will push anybody to do something more. And then again, how to plan a tour. The last one is how to plan a tour. How many of us have ever wanted to go off and go on one of those bus tours everywhere, or maybe on one of those Scotland tours? I want to do that. So I'm planning that in my retirement. So how to plan one of those kinds of tours and be a tour guide. This is the objective that is set up for the activity 4, Let's Discover. And in this one, the students will gain an understanding of the food service careers. Students will experience some of the responsibilities of food service workers, and they're going to learn the importance of food service workers and hotel workers in the travel and tourism and hospitality career cluster. As I said, all you got to do is cut and paste that one. We allow our teachers to do that into their lesson plans as they're working through it. This shows you in that activity 4, these are the items you're going to need from the kit. It's all in the box. If it says items needed from the kit, it means it's there. And it's going to be enough for about 10 people to be able to do it. So a lot of times you're going to have groups of 2 or 3 in your classrooms. that are going to be using those same kit items in that kit. And then it tells you, all right, teacher, you're going to find a magnifying glass. You're going to need soap and water, tape, cotton swabs, and a dirty rag. Well, I don't want to be the dirty rag getter, but anyway, it can happen. In a classroom, I promise you, you can get a dirty rag somewhere. And then on this one, there's a good possibility you might ask for a guest speaker, someone who's actually in the food service field or someone who is in the hotel industry, and they're going to talk about what it means to have a clean table. They're going to talk about what it means to make sure that when you set the table, there's not 10 million fingerprints all over everything. And they're going to go through and give students a good idea of what it means. It's okay to bring in, if you don't have a hotel manager or you don't have a banquet room manager, that's perfectly fine. The lady from Burger King comes and does ours, because we don't always set the table, but we know why we have to keep our hands clean. Because I can tell you, I like my French fries, but I don't like somebody putting the nasty hands on my French fries before I get them. So I'd like for everybody to have some clean hands. So here's the student instructions. Student instructions are written for the students, and they're there. Look, you can print these out, laminate them, put them there ready for the students. But most of the time in the Let's Discover part of it, you are the one as the teacher who is going to be telling the students what they're supposed to be doing. So you're going to present one copy of these, and they're going to see the pictures, because you're going to see it's real world pictures. We don't have anything that's a cartoon here, and they're going to show them exactly what to do. It's going to have some words on the top, and then it's going to have the picture of what they're actually going to do. This is what it looks like. In this activity, you will learn the importance of proper cleanliness steps when serving and cooking food. So this one, you actually dab your hands into the tempera paint that comes. They each get a little bit on their finger, and then they turn around and they pick up the plates. And you show them what it means to have nasty fingers. You've come from the bathroom, you haven't washed your hands, and then you pick up my plate. That's kind of gross kind of stuff. And you have those discussions. You stack them up, and then they see how germs are transferred. They see how you get the flu from all of this, or the common cold, because we've transferred all of this. Then you take them in, you wash their hands, you make sure you get all the paint off, and they come back and they pick up plates now, and they look at whether or not they are leaving fingerprints. Did they wash their hands like they were supposed to? Are they actually prepared to go and set a table? And then they're going to have a table setting. It's got a placemat in it, and they'll set the table the way that the placemat tells them to. And then they'll get back and they'll thumbs up from the teacher. Did they do what they were supposed to do? And as the teacher, you're going through and making sure that they don't, number one, have any of the red stuff still on their hands. And then two, did they set the table correctly? In the next part of it, they're actually going to go back in and they're going to grow germs in a petri dish. So there comes the science part of it. They're talking about germs. They're going to talk about washing their hands. They're going to talk about what's going on. So as you can see, it's going to integrate into everything that they're doing. And then section 3 are the resources. So it's any of the worksheets that they're going to need, any kind of handout that you're going to have as a teacher. It's going to give you some websites and some organizations to be able to connect with. And then it's going to be that all wonderful certificate that you're going to send home. So here's the deal. You've covered vocabulary with a overview of what it means to be in the tourism travel and hospitality industry. You've gone over all the different parts and pieces of what that career might have as far as different jobs that they could get. You also have a certificate now that you send home to parents, and they see all of the things that the student is doing in the classroom. So it's a wonderful way to keep your parents involved as well. And perhaps they'll send you little things like, you know, grandma's dishes that they don't want in their house anymore, so that now you can do 25 kids and we all can do our own place setting, that sort of thing. Anyway, it happens. We have a lot of place settings of grandma's dishes at our school. It's amazing what people don't want at their house. Okay, so that's it. That's the Let's Discover in a nutshell. I can tell you, if you read over it, if you are prepared to know what the steps are and the skills, you are ready to go. Okay. Make sure that what you need is in there. Read over the instructor's notes and the student instructions. Remember, the instructor's notes are how to get started in the teaching of the skills, but the skills of what they are doing are only in the student instructions. Okay. So it's student-based. You're going to administer that pre-test. You're going to get everything ready. You're going to teach the activity. You're going to have the students do the activities, and then you're going to administer the post-test. It's a done deal. Questions about that one? I just went over that one in a short amount of time. I'm just saying. I need a pat on the back here at some point. Any questions? Because we're about to roll into the big boys.
I think we're good. It's pretty self-explanatory. Thank you.
It really is. All right. So now let's get into career exploration. In the career exploration, you're going to see over 100 career choices. There's all kinds of job skills that will be there. This is the one that is married to the adapted version. I'm going to go over the careers first, because you're going to see the upper level of what students' skills should be. You're going to see the upper level of the vocabulary in that beginning, intermediate, or advanced kit. Just keep in mind, if you have an advanced kit, you're going to probably not have an adapted version of it. But if you're in the beginning or the intermediate, there's a good possibility there's an adapted version to it. You're also going to see that pretty much everything is color coded as far as the kits. So you're going to see that one section of them will have all of the colors on it, will be blue. One of them, like the advanced, is purple. There's a green. So you'll know where you are by the colors that are there. Okay. So here's the deal about the career exploration. In the career exploration, you are going to see that there's going to be a folder for, hi Dawn, come on in. There's going to be a folder for the instructor's guide, for instructor's notes. There's also going to be a folder on your USB for first look, and first look is vocabulary. Okay, so first look is vocabulary. And then you're going to see folders for student instructions. And then the last one is going to be your materials, tools, and supplies folders. In these, you're going to see in the instructor's notes, you're going to see the vocabulary. Remember, that vocabulary is going to be the vocabulary they need to pass that post-test. You're going to see the scope and sequence charts. keeping in mind that you may be a little longer than what it says on the scope and sequence. You've got your pre-post test. It's all the way at the end of the instructor's notes. So don't think it's not there. Every time I've looked for it in the last little while, it's just before some of the work workbook pages that are there, but the pre-test is going to be at the end. And then there's going to be work performance benchmarks. First look in the vocabulary, it's going to be a PowerPoint. So make sure, and here's the thing about the PowerPoints on some of our Chromebooks, some of the other stuff that we've purchased with a lot of our extra COVID money and all of that, just know that the audio part of it is only going to work for you in the actual screen view, so that you have to be running the PowerPoint to hear the audio. And on some of the Chromebooks, you're going to have to make sure you download it into that Chromebook in order for the audio to run. We have found that in the last little while. And then the student instructions in the beginning kits, most of the time it's written at about a 4th grade level. We've noticed that in the intermediate kits, it hangs out around a 5th grade level as far as the reading part of it. When you get to the advanced kits like the electricity, it's going to hang out right at the 8th grade level, somewhere right in there. But you've got some supports. You've got the first look. It's still there. We're still going to teach the kids the vocabulary. Okay. When you get off of this and you say, what the heck was Karen saying? It's in read me first. Okay. So just know that everything that I'm telling you is in the read me first part of your instructor's notes. You've also got the content list. So that tells you everything that's in the kit, everything that's in your flash drive, everything that you're going to have in front of you. In your instructor's notes is going to be a module overview. We use the module overview as part of our transition plans. So as we are presenting what students will be doing in the classroom, we are presenting these to parents and saying, this is what we'll be doing in the next few months in our classroom. And then, of course, it also goes through and we show our parents the activities. So like in the greenhouse, the first thing we're going to do is test seeds for germination. Well, everybody learns germination. Everybody learns about grafting. Everybody learns what vermiculite is. So all of these things are in our activities. So here's the electricity. And I wanted you to see this because with the advanced kits, you're going to see that there's going to be some skills that are going to make you go, woo, can I really do this as the instructor? Well, guess what? You can. You can solder. It will teach you how to do that. Okay. All of us are scared to death of wiring and turning on electricity. I know I am. It bites. I don't like things that bite. So it makes me a little bit nervous. But I do know how to wire something up. And I do know how to look and see if something is wrong in my house because I've taught the electricity kit more than once. So I know the difference between the white and the yellow and the black wires. I know that the black wire must be somewhere so that it's grounded somewhere so that it won't shoot flames at me at some point. So there's my extent of knowing electricity. I think that activity 3 is the one, either activity 1, which is the color-coded wires, or the activity 3 is going to be the one that we're going to be talking about at the job fair for electricity. I can tell you that the color coding activity is fun. It's not as fun as wiring the circuits, okay? And it can be done because it will teach you to do it. So just keep that in mind. It'll tell you what the materials are, just like we saw. These are the things that are here in the kit. These are the things that you're going to need to get. These are the career clusters that it will cover. And here are some notes to teachers. Same thing like you saw in the Let's Discover version. The notes to teachers here are going to be strictly about doing the skills most of the time. It's going to be talking about making sure that you have certain things in place. It will also tell you things like you need to make sure that if you're in the electricity, if they're color coding, you need to make sure they know their colors. You need to make sure that they can see the colors. It's tough on a colorblind person to be able to see some of the colors. So you got to think that through on how you are going to be working with this. Maybe some of the accommodations that you might have to make. All of that is in there. The required knowledge, in other words, the pre-work that you would need is there. The manipulative skills, we have to talk to parents sometimes about what their student is actually able to do in the kit as far as the manipulative skills. What if you're in table service? I can tell you that if you're going to be bussing tables, you have to be able to hold on to the tray in order to put the plates in. So we have to talk about how we would either accommodate this for a student in a wheelchair who would be using the same busing, how they would hold it. Maybe they're using a different device. You're going to be looking at what the manipulative skills are. The conceptual skills, we use those as our long-term objectives. So in here, the conceptual skills are going to be your broad skills that they're going to be taking home. We cut and paste these, put them straight into our transition plans as long-term goals that we are working for with students. And then the acquired knowledge, it's a learner will. The learner will demonstrate knowledge of. The learner will demonstrate how to. The learner will define. All of that is in the acquired knowledge. So here's some of the acquired skills. In the electricity, the learner will demonstrate knowledge of why color coding is done. The learner will demonstrate how to make a screw terminal connection. So as I said, those are our short-term objectives. It's done for you in this. But that's just some of the things that they're going to learn. The second one is the caregiver. So how many of us thought about the fact that we're going to be teaching in the caregiver part of it, you're going to be teaching how to take care of persons who need support. So the elderly, perhaps you're talking about when you're going into CNA class. So we prepare a good many of our students to go into CNA. I've got quite a few students with mild disabilities who are passing the state CNA test because we do caregiver, food service, and childcare, and we require that, and then they go into CNA, and they're able to front load all of the knowledge before they get into the CNA program. So here are some of the acquired knowledge for caregiver. And then, of course, there's the acquired knowledge for the food service. I think y'all might be looking at activity 2 in food service and maybe activity 3 for caregiver. So these are the things that they're actually going to be able to do at the end of that. This is the scope and sequence. Now, Heidi, you're going to have to close your ears on this. I have never, ever in the history of ever doing this, done something in 10 days. Okay. It takes us 10 days to get through a lot of the vocabulary and a lot of, the first 3 activities. So what I can tell you is that the scope and sequence is actually activity 1, activity 2, or it's going to be lesson 1, lesson 2, that sort of thing. But it's definitely not a 10-day type thing, because these are the same things that they're teaching to CNAs, and it takes them 6 months to do it. So just know that you're covering the beginning of these skills before they would move into a program.
I have a question on the CNAs. This is Amy from Bulk Rehab.
Go ahead.
So, in your parish,
Mhm.
do you, the high school, I know Williston High School here, I don't know about Minot schools or anything, but they actually have a CNA program for students. Does your school offer that program as well? I think it's
Yes.
pretty standard anymore, or pretty common.
Yes. We
And
offer it.
do they integrate this with that?
Okay, so what we've been doing, because CNA is so prescriptive in what they have to do, we actually front load all of this. So we teach the caregiver kit and the child care kit before they go into the CNA program, so that our students are able to know the vocabulary before they ever get in there. And then they know a good many of the skills. They are not going to be students who are going to be lagging behind. Okay. They're going to be students who are going to be able to pick up on what that CNA instructor is telling them to do. And the reason why we front load all of this and we teach it first is because for us, it's like a support. So if they're not having to learn the vocabulary, at the same time they're having to up their skills in that classroom, it makes it even better for our students with disabilities. Does that like help in any way?
It's actually very smart to teach them one thing instead of running them through that course, because obviously if we are working with some of those students and they are on that IEP or that 504 plan, then there is some type of documented disability that might prevent them from learning everything as a gen ed student. So
well, and part of the problem is that when they hit that CNA test, the CNA test is going to be a skills-based test, and it starts from the minute they walk into the door. So they have to be 10 times more prepared than any other of the skills tests that we've seen, because they have to know that they have to greet the people who are in the room, put that gown on, they have to wash their hands, and nobody tells them to do it. They have to be in a position to do all of that. So we just front load everything before they go into the class. And it, I'm telling you, it ups our success rate considerably. And our instructors in those high school vocational courses now have no chance of saying, oh, they can't do this, honey. We can't put them in there, because our kids know more than they do. They know more than any of those 11th graders who are coming in from some other part of the school. So if you'll look over and look at that caregiver part of it and look at the scope and sequence, do you see the things we're going to be doing? We're going to be looking at aseptic. Hey, we're going back to washing hands again, people. So you're going to see common threads through this. In the food service, you're going to learn how to wash your hands and be aseptic. So going to learn a lot of science in this. They're going to do temperatures. You're going to learn how to take a pulse and take respirations. I think that's the activity you might be hanging out on this time. Blood pressure It's nice to be able to actually know how to take a blood pressure. They also are going to learn about administering medications. We try to put every kid in our high school through the caregiver part, and mostly because 70% of our students are living with a grandparent. And so they're going to be taking care of somebody in their lifetime. So it's just a real good life skill to be able to send kids through. So whether they are in our special populations group or they're headed to any kind of college prep, they're going through caregiver as well. So vocabulary, this is not for the weak, folks. I mean, this is the real vocabulary that they're going to use in the world of work. We're going to support them. We're going to teach the vocabulary before they ever see it in any lesson. But I'm going to tell you, they're definitely going to have to step up their game a little bit, but we're going to support them the whole way. There's writing activities in every one of the kits in this career exploration. And then there's going to be a community involvement piece to it as well. How to get them out into the community or how to get the community into your classroom type conversations. So here's a look at the test, the pre-test and the post-test for the small engine. I can tell you that had I not taught the kit multiple times, or at least taught the kit once, I probably couldn't have, no, I know I couldn't have passed this pre-test a long time ago. I can now. And I can tell you that the other teacher, who was one of our first teachers, she retired, she went home, and you know what she does for a second job now? She fixes weed eaters and she fixes small engines, and she and her husband have them a nice little business because she learned how to do the small engine repair through Project Discovery. It's hilarious, I know, but that's how we learn to do a few things extra around here. Notice that questions 11 and 12 are going to be about their interest. Do I think I know? Did I learn what I needed to know? And do I really want to be in this kind of stuff? Okay. So you're going to get some interest questions in here as well. The work performance benchmarks are in here as well. So you have a pre-test that you're going to give them beforehand. You're going to have the activities, and then you're going to progress monitor the activities, and that's these work performance benchmarks. It's a task analysis type thing where you are going to look at every task that they have to do within the activity, and you're going to be able to rate them on how well they do that. So for us, it's a 3-4 to say that they've mastered the activity. A 3 means that they've mastered it. A 4 means that they're a rock star and they're teaching somebody else how to do it. A 1-2 level is going to be, a 1 is we're not there yet. We haven't been able to do this. A 2 is going to be I'm emerging into the activity. And then a 3 is going to be that I've mastered the activity. So work performance benchmarks are done every activity when you are watching the students actually complete the skills. So as you're doing it, looking at this one, here's the electricity in the activity. We're going to match each color wire correctly to the matching spring. So you're going to see, you're going to have a box there. You're going to have wires that are coming out. They're going to match those wires, and they're going to attach them to the correct place that they need to go in the box. Okay. In the soldering, they're going to use the tip of the soldering iron by following instructions. They're going to get it ready. They're going to solder the wires by following the instructions. They're going to connect, make sure that the connection is shiny and smooth. And then they're going to desolder. They're going to take it off as the instructions tell them to. They're going to splice cables. There's a lot of things that are going to go into electricity, but it's written so that anyone would be able to work through all of the skills. But as you can see, you're going to have a drop down box. You're going to be able to click on it within your flash drive. You're going to make one of these, make a copy of it for every student. And then as they're going through it, you're going to put together what the work performance benchmarks are that they've completed. So that's what it looks like when you pull it up on the USB drive. There's a yes, no, because some people don't have to have the 1, 2, 3, 4 level. So you can say, yes, they can do it. No, they don't. We choose the 1, 2, 3, 4 level because it helps us a little bit better. And we take these work performance benchmarks, we put them in a resume portfolio that we do for students, and they're able to take these out to their prospective employers and show what they can do and at what level they can do this.
Karen, am I gonna print any of these from that USB drive before the job fair, or is this just for people to have once they purchase a kit?
I personally would print some of them out.
Okay.
Just so they, as they're coming by, they might see that these are the skills that we're looking for in each of these. And I would show them that progress monitoring piece is embedded in the program.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Okay.
And I don't know if everyone can print, from their kits, things that they want to show at the booth. If anyone needs help with that, I can print some stuff at my home office here and throw it in my suitcase if I need to.
And Heidi, I think that that's a good conversation because, you may want to have I know you're going to want to have the student instructions at least for that one activity that each person's doing, so that they can see that these are the pictures, these are the words that the students are actually working through.
I was just gonna say, we work, don't repeat this. I know it's being recorded, but we work for the state and we have access to excellent printing stuff. So if it's for a conference or something we need to, and we need stuff printed out, I know the Minot office and the Williston office have printers and papers if we need to share resources. So
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah, it's great when everybody's able to work together. It's absolutely wonderful. These are the worksheets. You don't have to have these out all the time. I can tell you for our worksheets, we laminate a lot of our worksheets because we just don't have that printing ability all the time. And so we dry erase a good bit of ours. And then we have students use them over and over and over again. The best part about all of this is that they're either PDF or in a Word file. And so you're going to see that you can change some of your instructions sometimes on there, or you can change the date. You can do whatever you need to do. What I will tell you in all of this is do not change the vocabulary on there. Do not change the wording of the vocabulary words that they need to have. You might augment a little bit, you might add to it, but don't take away. Okay. Those words are there for a reason. So this one here, medication 2, take 1 capsule each day. Well, don't say take a pill each day. It's there for a reason, because they need to know the difference between a tablet, a capsule, what are you talking about as a pill, that sort of thing. So they need to know those differences. So don't change vocabulary words. there's a rhythm. And let me just say this. In each one of the kits, there's a rhythm. And the reason it's easy to be able to teach multiple kits at different times is because once you learn how to work through one of the curriculum sources, you can do any one of the kits. All you have to then teach yourself is what are the skills in each activity. So here's the way a kit works. The curriculum starts with the pretest. You're going to pump your kids up. Yeah. We're going to do these wonderful things. I can't wait for you to learn how to do electricity. And here we go. You're going to turn around and give the pretest. So pump them up, give the pretest. Then teach the vocabulary. And vocabulary is always in the first look. The vocabulary that's in first look is going to support your students with disabilities to make sure that they have all that vocabulary they need for each and every activity. Not going to be any kind of like clip art or anything in there. It's going to be real pictures of the real stuff that they're going to be using. And every time you see that picture, that word is going to go with that picture. So you're going to have that repetition moment that's there. So the first look is going to be for your students who have some reading disabilities. But I can tell you, it never hurt any kid to go back through and do the first look part of it. You can do this whole group, teach the vocabulary. So you pretest, then you teach the vocabulary for that activity, and then you're going to go into the activity. But every time before you get into an activity, you're going to do your first look vocabulary. It's going to prep them for what they're going to need. Okay. Now mine's not going to work right now because on my Mac, it doesn't like me, but it reads it to them. The little plants that grow are called seedlings. The seedlings will grow into big plants. Seedlings look like this because the first thing you're going to do in the greenhouse part of it is you're going to germinate seeds. You're going to grow a seed into a seedling. Okay. So here are some of the vocabulary that they will need in the caregiver part of it. Microorganisms. They're going to learn what asepsis is. You're going to see when we get into the adapted for our most significant students, they're going to learn what asepsis is too. Medical asepsis, sterile. They're going to learn radial artery. They're going to talk about output and cubic centimeter. All of these are the vocabulary that they will need to have before they complete that caregiver kit. And all of that is going to be in that first look. It will scaffold up to get to that vocabulary. And in section 3 is the student instructions. So remember, we looked at the teacher instructions, the instructor's notes. All it talked about was how to teach it. In the student instructions is where you're going to actually see the skills, the step-by-step of what the skills are. They're written on the reading level of whatever kit that you're in. Remember, 3rd, 4th grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th for that beginning kit, 5th, 6th, somewhere for that intermediate. And then when you hit that advanced, it's going to be that 6th, 7th, 8th grade, mostly in the 8th grade reading ability. But keep in mind, there's still going to be pictures. It's still going to be accommodated for your students with reading disabilities. Okay.
So is there a concern? So I don't know if you know this, but most adults read at an 8th grade level.
Mhm.
So that 8th grade level would be like an adult level, because they you know the World of Work inventory, the WOWI. So their advanced on the WOWI is at 8th grade level. So when they say that you're doing the advanced one, it's at an 8th grade level because most adults read at an 8th grade level. So would it, in my mind, being a vocational rehabilitation counselor, I would be very concerned having somebody be reading at a lower level than 8th grade and going into type of work, working with medications, reading blood pressures, things like that. That would be a concern for me. So what's your take on that?
Well, what I can tell you is this. I have students who learn the vocabulary and learn their job, and perhaps they're not reading a magazine on an 8th grade level, which most of your magazines and other materials that you're seeing right now are written on about a 5th grade level. But as they're in their job, it's more of can they do the skills than it is all the time about what their reading levels are. In here, you're going to see the supports to be able to get them to understand what's going on in those skills that they are working on. When they have to go, let's say the CNA test, okay? When they actually have to go and take the written part of that, they may or may not be given accommodations. It is at that time that there's going to be a conversation about, will I actually be a CNA? Or for some of our students who don't pass that CNA test, they now are not CNAs, but we send them, and we have a lot of requests from the nursing homes. We have requests from the rehabilitation facilities for people to come in and sit privately with people. They might go into a home and be a sitter for an elderly person, and they're able to do the skills, know what those pills are, know how to be able to set that up and give those elderly people the assistance that they need. So they might not make the CNA portion of it as far as passing the national or the state test, but they would still be able to work in that capacity.
Like a CMA, a certified med assistant?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious. Thank you.
And we have a lot of students who do that. That are not, or didn't finish the CNA. They finished some stuff for us, but they didn't finish all of the CNA. But in like electricity, if you're going to send a kid through the electrical kit, they're going to learn all the steps and parts and pieces. But in the state of Louisiana, you have to intern with someone, apprentice with someone for 5 years before you can actually be certificated as an electrician. So that person who is
the state of
training,
the state of North Dakota requires that too. So we actually have an electrical program that they can go through Wahpeton State College of Science. I can't remember if Bismarck State College has it or not, but you also don't have to go through that program. You can go right into your apprenticeship, and I believe it's 4 years or that certain hours met criteria, which I want to say is around 4,000 to 5,000 hours, depending. So you could do it in 4 years here, but you do have to have that apprenticeship here before you test out for your journeyman, and then so many hours for your journeyman before you test out for your master's.
but isn't it wonderful? Because now you could send a student out, they've already been prepped for what they need to do to even get someone to say, number one, they could go into that class, or to be able to apprentice with
Some of that knowledge.
Yes, because they already have it.
Well, I'm going to teach you one thing about electricity, because my husband works for an electric company, Expanse Electrical, and he's the automation technician, or I don't know what he does. Actually, he does a lot. Anyway, all he's going to tell you is, where does electricity want to go?
Yeah,
Where does it want to go?
it's always want to go out. It's going
Nope, it
least
wants,
resistance.
nope, it only wants to go home. It wants to go
Oh,
home,
oh.
grounded. So electricity always wants to go home. So if you learned anything about electricity, there's your lesson
That's
today.
it. Well, I can tell you that one time my son walked into our house and all the ceiling fans were going at like 90 miles an hour and the lights were pulsing. And it was because the pole outside had decided to come home to my house. It ground in my house. And so it electrified everything.
Oh my.
And only because he had on tennis shoes did it not ground in him. But it was awful. But yes, I have seen the way it wants to go.
I have been in a Louisiana and Texas thunderstorm, so I get it.
You know what I'm talking
I
about.
do, yes.
So in that, we're going to get back in that student section. You're going to see those instructions. You're going to see that it's by picture. It's going to show them step by step, but you're also going to see the progression in that it's going to be more words to picture ratio. And as you advance up, in other words, in reading level, you're going to see fewer pictures, more words, that sort of thing. So you're going to be able to see the progression with that. So here's the activity, taking a pulse. This, of course, is going to be intermediate. So this is what the students see. These are the things you need to get. So you're pumping your kids up, you give them a pre-test, and now I'm getting into the activity. The fact of the matter is, for most of us, we're going to do that whole teacher thing. I do, we do, you do. Okay? So that's the way I live my life. I'm going to show you how to do it first. We're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to let the whole group, maybe groups of 3 or 4, now do this activity. Sometimes it's an I do, we do, we do, we do, we do, oh my goodness, we do again kind of thing. And we're going to all learn how to find the pulse and be able to record the pulse of this person. When you are at a point where you think that your students are ready to do it on their own, now you're going to have students do that activity in front of you, or maybe a paraprofessional in the room, someone who's in the room who knows what it's supposed to look like, and you are going to work performance benchmark them as they do that activity. Okay? So, pump them up, pre-test, do the activity. Well, pump them up, pre-test, teach them the vocabulary. Don't let me forget that. After the vocabulary, activity, I do, we do, you do. When the students you do, then you work performance benchmark them. You do the progress monitoring. So at that point, you know where they're succeeding and where they need a little bit more help. If the majority of your students have got it, then you're moving on and you're coming back to some of those skills that maybe a couple of your kids don't have. You're going to find a time to come back and reinforce those skills. But keep in mind, they can go through these kits more than once. So if you have the time with them, so you don't have to slow down everyone else to be able to come back and just teach some of these skills in isolation. So that's what it looks like. That's what the students' instructions look like at this level. Now, in a little bit, I'm going to show you in just a few minutes, the adapted version. We're going to do this same thing with students who have little to no reading ability, and we're going to teach them how to do it in the exact same way. But you're going to see it's going to have a lot of help with them. So that's the career exploration. That's the beginning, intermediate, advanced kits that you have, the blue, light blue, the green, and the purple, I think, that you would have. And that's how to work through those. So check your kits, look over your README first, look at your notes to teachers for that activity, check over the first look, and then check over the student instructions so you know how to do the activity. Do the pretest, do the vocabulary, do the activity, watch your kids do it by themselves, and you work performance benchmark them. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have 3 or 4 of them doing it at the same time and you're just looking around. That's a possibility. And then you do the next activity. So activity 1, you do all of that. Activity 2, you're going to first look, you're going to do the activity, you're going to benchmark the activity, and then you're going to go to the next activity. You're going to first look, you're going to do the activity, you're going to benchmark the activity, and then you're going to the next activity until you finish that whole kit, and you're going to do the post-test. Keeping in mind, all of this is done for you. It's all laid out for you. You're going to see as you're getting prepared to do this or to be able to talk about it, you're going to see how teacher friendly all of this is. Lord, we've gone through a lot. So questions. Take a sip of water. Somebody's going to ask a question so I can sip some water. Okay, y'all let me down on that one.
I have a question.
Thank God. Go for it.
Okay, so on Thursday at the job fair,
Mhm.
what will that look like for us? Will we actually be going through some of the steps?
Heidi? Heidi, I'm not hearing you at all.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can now.
That's what the problem was. We don't really know. We've never done this job fair before. Teachers are going to come through and they're going to want to see your kit and the different activities. I'm not sure if they'll even have time to do an activity with you or not, but be prepared for it if they want to. Otherwise, just prepare to show them the kit and kind of tell them a little bit about what you learned about, this curriculum.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, because my thing of it is that, the activities that they're kind of set out for you at this point in time, they are some that you can look at pretty quickly. Like if you're turning around and doing taking a pulse, you can show them the steps and the parts and pieces of it, and you can turn around and say, I learned how to take a pulse in about 20 minutes. And teaching a student to do this may take a certain number of days, and you can show them and give them an idea of how to take their own pulse. People love to do that sort of thing. Maybe with the electrical, you may turn around and you may show them either how to color code wires will go into the actual circuit, or how you are making sure that the circuit is complete so that it is ground in something and it can go home at some point in time. But you're going to want to show them just some parts and pieces if you get that chance. And then they may roll through there and you're going to say, I got something you can't live without, because that's what they said to me. And I said, sister, I don't have that kind of money. I can't live without it. And then I kept it for about a week and I thought, nope, I'm going to find the money to be able to do this. So I think more than anything, they need to know how teacher friendly all of this is. And that it is specifically the vocabulary and the math skills that they'll need to be able to do this job that they want to do sometime in their life. Okay.
I do have another question.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And then this is probably more for Heidi. Do we have enough students that you are needing? Because Minot Public's 18 plus program is actually at Minot State. So if
Okay.
we need to pull some students.
Well, I think what happened, because Oli has some students and they're gonna fill that pays table 8. So we do have that covered. I mean, if there's students that want to be involved, I hate to say, you know, if you have someone that wants to be involved, I think we could put them at one of the other tables or something, but we did get, Williston is filling that, pays, and then Oli herself is gonna sit at the avail table. We're gonna get her
Okay.
trained on that. And I think, Oli, do you have a student for the avail table?
I do.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I
Perfect.
thought. So,
Okay.
I've
They
got-
usually are on job sites on Thursday mornings. So, but I thought I would ask. Yeah.
I appreciate it so much. And, yeah, I think we're pretty covered. I think this is gonna be pretty cool. So thank you.
My students are pretty excited to make a trip to Minot.
Well, they better not give me any hell about being a Packers fan.
I love it.
I've got students sitting in on this training.
Good thing I didn't say anything else than that. Go Pack, go.
That is fabulous. Look, I'm just trying to be good myself. So
It's
look,
all-
I'm a Saints fan, honey, but you know, we didn't even get to go anywhere this year. So
I know, but that was my second one. My heart's with Drew Brees. I hear ya.
know it is.
Right.
It's always with old Drew, baby.
So one of the students that's coming along is a Vikings fan, and we were all gonna wear Vikings gear because of for Amy.
Amy, do you want me to show up in green and gold?
You can. I mean, I have plenty for everybody. We can change their attire. So
I apologize. My second one is the Bengals fan, because I can tell you my LSU boy is hanging out with that. So it's an amazing moment right now for all of us.
So I have one of my students with me that's going through the caretaker
Uh-huh.
kit, and she's coming back, and she'll be in the STOMP program next year. But so she's going to take the CNA class next year. And yeah, so it was fun to hear that if we go through these things and learn these things, then it'll help her.
It will definitely help her. I promise. The fact that we are able to get a good many of our students to actually pass the test is a testament to the fact that doing some pre-work and then them going through that CNA program at the school level is a really good way to get them in there. I've got several. I have one girl this past year. She turned 18. She passed her CNA test, but she had not graduated from high school. And this is my Southern moment. Bless her heart. She worked nights at the nursing home and then came to school for 2 hours a day. And graduated, got her diploma, but she is now doing some of the instructing.
Where is? In our room.
Yeah, he's not responsible.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, she's coming.
All right, so let's look at adapted. And in the adapted, you're going to see that those things that we talked about as far as skills that we just did in the career exploration, we're going to be looking at those same types of skills. It's going to have a scaffolded version, lots more support, lots more bells and whistles, but we're going to be able to work with students who have little to no reading ability, who may need extra supports in the classroom, all the way up now into that career exploration area as well. So in this one, now electricity, no, we do not have that one in the adapted kit. So if they're in the advanced section, probably not going to see that in the adapted. But small engine repair, carpentry, auto body repair. I can tell you, my kids know how to pull a dent out of a car. Okay. They can do auto detailing. They are able to do cleaning and maintenance with no problem. Childcare is another one that we teach to everybody, and that's anybody in our high school. So not just students with disabilities or students who on a 504 plan, but all of our high school students. Why? Because at some point they're going to be a parent. So we make sure we give them some of those life skills that they need to have. The hair care is fun. They're going to learn to braid. There's all kinds of stuff about a weave in there. There's going to be things about washing your hair, getting them ready to go into that cosmetology program as well. And animal care is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. It goes through anything that an assistant would need as far as working in a veterinary office or even just taking care of your own pet. So in the adapted version, you're going to know that you have an instructor's guide, and it's going to be adapted. It's going to show you how to scaffold everything for your students. It's going to teach you about time delay, making sure you give those students time to answer the questions. It's going to look at a system of least prompts. In other words, in the adapted series, you always want to get your student to the right answer. You always want to get your students to doing the right skill. It's going to depend on how many prompts and the level of prompting that you want to get them to. Okay. So you're going to start with the least, you're going to move up to the most that you need to do, and then you're going to back it back down again. Okay. It's got a pre-post test. This one is going to look a lot like what we talked about in the Let's Discover. This is going to be a PowerPoint pre-post test, and it can be done individually or as a group. This adapted first look, you're going to get to those same vocabulary words that you saw in the other version, but this is going to have just extra levels built in to get them to those vocabulary words. The best part about the adapted is that now the student instructions are there, a lot more pictures, but more importantly, it's got video modeling. So there's going to be a video that you're going to be able to watch and that students will watch to have someone else showing them, not just you as the teacher or the instructor, but there's going to be video modeling for them to watch. Functional academic worksheets are there. There's going to be, everything is going to support the vocabulary that we're teaching. So everything's going to go back to vocabulary, but then you're also going to see a lot of math. There's going to be some one-to-one counting in this. There's going to be geometry in this. You're going to see algebra in this. So you're going to know that you're going to be able to bring this back to the standards. There's vocabulary cards. There's bingo games and board games in here. There's role plays. There's situation cards, and there's a community-based. All of this doing those same things that as the skills that we've been teaching in the other one. The adapted USB flash drive is set up much differently from what you've seen before now in the career exploration. In this one, you're going to see so many more folders. Okay, you're going to see folder A, which is going to be the read me first. Again, go back, read it. It's going to tell you what I said. It's going to have the teaching strategies. It's going to tell you how to implement everything that's in there. It's going to tell you how to take the data. It's going to have those introductory activities to pump your kids up, okay? Get them ready. And then it's going to have the vocabulary boards and the vocabulary cards as well. The vocabulary boards, you are able to take those, bring them into any device that a student might be using for communication. It is there and prepared for you to already bring the exact vocabulary pictures and words in there. The vocabulary cards, we use those as word walls, and we put them up to make sure that our kids have a picture with the word. We make flip charts. We do all kinds of things with these vocabulary cards. Okay. So as you're pulling in, if you want to put in that USB drive and look at that while we're doing this together, what I can tell you is folder A is for you. That's the teacher folder. Folder B, you're going to see, is going to be that interactive pre-post test. And it's going to be a PowerPoint. It's going to read it to them. It's going to have the score report form that's there as well. And tab C is going to be your first look. All your vocabulary that you're going to do. It's going to be in a PowerPoint. It's going to be right there for you. It's going to read it to them. You can do the vocabulary as whole group, or you can put kids on it separately. And then at tab D, one of the activities starts after that, because there's so much in the adapted that you have to have them under the different folders. So in folder A, read me first, teaching strategies, worksheets, and the vocabulary boards and the vocabulary cards. All of that is there for you. This is what the scope and sequence looks like. It's there as well. Okay. So you're going to see that the scope and sequence is broken up into 3 separate types of kid. Okay. So first group is going to be the typical student, the student who is able to read, look at the pictures, being able to go through it. Column 2 is the adapted. That's going to be your students reading somewhere around the 2nd grade level, that is able to look, read through it, can pretty much go through as you are helping them with the first look book, and they're learning that vocabulary. Okay. They're going to watch that video modeling. They're going to be able to do this. The alternative activities, that's going to be your alternately assessed students. Students that are alternately assessed, this is the column for them. You're going to be going through extra worksheets for them. You're going to be going through extra preparation activities, background knowledge that you're going to have to give to them, and everything that is in the curriculum for them. All of this is there for them. The video modeling, you're going to see a lot of extra supports for your students. Know this, it never killed any child to go through all of this together either. Okay. So just know that you could do this whole group, and most of the people do these kits whole group if they have significant disabilities in their classroom. Okay. You're going to see the suggested order of implementation. You're going to see all the curriculum components, and it's going to tell the teacher exactly how to take the data. And then you're going to have the data sheet in there. So just like the last kit had a rhythm to it, this one has a rhythm to it. You're going to pump them up, get them ready, administer the pretest, teach the vocabulary. Watch that first look as you're teaching that vocabulary, showing them all of these scaffolded words. Then you as the teacher and the students are going to look at the student instructions. You're going to watch the video modeling of the activity. And then it's going to be an I do. Teacher's still going to do it right there in front of them so they can see it being done. we do, making sure that everybody is getting it done, and then you do. Watch the kids when they are in that you do, you're going to data sheet those students. Okay. You're not working with work performance benchmarks right now. You're going to look at a data sheet. So every activity does the same thing. Teach the vocabulary. I do, we do, you do, video modeling. And then we're going to data sheet when we get to the you do. And then all of that ends up, and at the end, you're going to post-test your students. This is what the data collection sheet looks like. So when you are actually working with a student, you're going to look at the activity. It is broken up into the task that they would have to do. This is setting a table activity. So as we're setting the table, we're going to gather our materials. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to wipe the table down. We're going to place the placemat on the table. We're going to put the plate on the placemat, matching it where it's supposed to go. So all of these are going to line up, and you will be able to do multiple sessions with your students who are significantly impaired. You're going to be able to actually work with them. Okay. When you get down to the bottom, it's going to have, how did I do? And did I like setting a table? So again, you're going to have a way for students to self-advocate for themselves. How do they think they did? And then you're going to have an interest inventory. Did I even like setting the table? Is this something I wanted to do? And you have that opportunity for them to talk about that. And then on the data sheet, you also have the opportunity to do anecdotal notes. I think we've talked about all of that. System of least prompts and time delay. In this, making sure, number one, that these kids always get to the right answer. It's going to be the level of prompting that you're going to have to use to get them to that right answer. You want repetition of the right way to do it. You don't want them to repeat the wrong way. Okay. Everything's about repetition. And here are some of the introductory activities. Find and circle the same item. Circle the pictures related to table service. So you're going to introduce to them what's going on. Here are some of the worksheets that you're doing. It's going to be matching activities. It's going to be looking at which ones they would use on the job. Now, you want to take these, laminate them, have students use dry erase markers. That's perfectly wonderful. That's exactly what we do. But we also go in and we change the directions on here, because what if you want to circle the pictures that are not related to table service, and you step the game up a little bit, okay? And you know the difference between what is table service and what's not table service. So now I've just changed the game. Or how can I make it so that it's a little bit different for a student? And you can do that because it's built in as a PDF and as a Word file. And we talked about vocabulary cards. I went through that. Now, when you're administering the pre-test on this, it's a PowerPoint. A lot of people do this as a whole group activity, and they hold up paddles and say, I pick A, or raise my hand. How many of you think the right answer is A? And they raise their hand, and they're going through and they're doing this together. Some people do this as an individual activity. It depends on the data that you need in the classroom, but you as the teacher get to choose that nobody tells you how to do it. Okay. You get to choose how you want to give the pretest, either individually or as a group. And this is what the score report form looks like. You write down the answer that they gave you. Is it correct or incorrect? Is that first answer, whatever they told you. In the post test, the difference is that you are going to write down the answer, correct or incorrect, and then you're going to prompt them to get to the right answer. And you're going to put in the level of prompting that it took to be able to get them to that right answer. Because again, we're always trying to reinforce the right way, okay? So sometimes we just have to get them there. The first look in the adapted is scaffolded vocabulary to be able to make sure we get to those words that they need to get to. They're going to start out with a more generalized version of what is table service. They're going to talk about what is a waiter or waitress. If you need to add in a little something, it's PowerPoint, people. You can do that. Perhaps you need to put in wait person, okay? Or perhaps you need to write in server, because that's what you are teaching at this point in time. Don't take away from the words that are there, but add your words in. Perfectly fine, not a problem. Sometimes with our students with autism, we have to change some of the pictures sometimes because they need a very concrete picture of someone they know that does that job. So you can certainly change those as well, okay? So you're going to see in that folder A is going to have everything you need to be able to teach all the lessons. But when you get to folder D, or to getting ready to do the activity, all of those things are going to be in that folder as well. So you've got an overview in the folder A, but every activity after that in folder D, E, F, G, whatever, is still going to have all of these parts and pieces for you. So you can settle in on that folder you know you need, and it's going to have the teacher instructions. It's going to have the data sheet. It's going to have that visual schedule so that your students can see exactly what goes on and they can check off the sheet as I've done it. It's going to have the student instructions that step by step in there. And then it's going to have all of the worksheets. And then somewhere in there, whether it's in whether it's in folder D or E or F or G, you're going to see other activities that are in there, such as the worksheets, the dictionary, all of those things. So that's just what it looks like. The teacher instructions are there. It's going to break it down into what's the acquired knowledge. Remember, the acquired knowledge is your objective, okay? Cut and paste it, put it in your lesson plans, put it in a transition plan, whatever you need. In an IEP, it's your short-term objective. It's going to have that data sheet. It's going to have, this is what the visual schedule looks like. It's going to tell them this is what you do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, okay? And they can check it off, saying, I did it. Give a thumbs up to your teacher and say, I'm finished, kind of thing. And then this is what the student instructions look like. Notice the difference between the adapted version and then what we were actually doing in the others. The video modeling comes up and you'll be able to watch a video. And then here are some of your math and your vocabulary worksheets that come through. Remember, if it's an unknown number, it's algebra. We're teaching algebra, okay? There's plane geometry in there. There's a dictionary in there. This is the place where they can put in and make sure that they are completing all of the words that they need. Situation cards are in there as well. You're going to have to find them. I don't know what folder they're under because they're under a different folder in every one of them. But it's a real world situation. This is one of those 10-minute moments where you go through a real world situation. You sit there and have a discussion with your students about what should you do in this. It's a social skills thing. It's going to teach them what's the right way to do it. There are bingo games in here with 6 different cards. It is always going to reinforce the vocabulary. If you're one of those people that wants to do the post test individually, Now I'm going to have the rest of my class playing bingo, and I'm going to be individually testing my kids. It is a fabulous moment for you. Not only is there a bingo game, there's also the role play, which is a play, which is going to reinforce the right way to do something. It's a great way to bring in people into your classroom, and it's a great way for your students to remember what they're supposed to do. And then there's a board game in there as well. And the board game looks like Chutes and Ladders to me. It's going to be a dice game. You're going to roll the dice. You move ahead the number. They have to tell you what it is that they've moved to. It's the napkin. Again, it's just one of those reinforcing vocabulary things, and it's going to be a way for you to have some extra time if you need to in there. The last thing you're going to see in the adapted version is the community-based instruction. It's going to be a trip. It's going to have a story narrative, and then it's going to have a report that they can write afterwards and a thank you note once they get back saying thank you for letting us go. Okay. I just gave you the 30-second tour of the everything. That's everything.
It was fabulous.
So
Fabulous,
questions, you
Karen.
got 2 seconds for questions. Actually, you got 2 minutes. But while you're doing that, you're going to take a lovely little evaluation. Just go ahead and do that on your phone while you're asking me questions, and we're going to get through the moment. I know I talked a lot. My throat is killing me. I may have to have teeny time a little early today. I don't know, but I hope that this will help you get through what you need to have for Thursday. Good gracious, it's already ready, huh? That's next Thursday, huh? Is that what y'all are doing? All right, questions. I'm gonna shut up for a second. Everybody's been good. They're finishing their evaluation. I'm so impressed. I'm one of those that hates the silent type. That whole time delay thing will kill me. So
I'm just going to let, okay, did you have a question? Go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I don't know if it's for you though. I'm just wondering if we can get a list of attendees who are going to be at the conference. Because if they're places that already have things like this going on, their questions might be different than if they're newbies attending the CEC conference.
I made a list just recently of all the North Dakota Project Discovery people. I will email it to everyone so you guys have it. I also made an Excel spreadsheet with all of the job fair people contact names. I'll send out both of those spreadsheets after this.
Okay.
I'm also gonna, Karen, thank you so much for this training. She recorded this. I'm going to upload it to my YouTube video or whatever, YouTube channel. So I have it, and I'm going to send you guys all out a link to this too, in case there's anyone else that needs to, that you want to share this with.
Okay.
In a regular training, when we're going through all of this, when we sit down and do a 3-4 hour training, we get into the kits. We actually teach a lesson before they leave out from the training. So I didn't think that we could do that today as far as actually getting into a lesson. But if you need me, all you have to do is get in touch with Heidi, and Heidi will get you to me, and I can help you through any of those questions that you might have as you're going through an activity and preparing for this. So don't think you can't. You know, you can text me at any point in time. Just get to Heidi and she'll do it.
Thank you. And I think everyone knows they can reach out to me with any questions. I've been saying all along, we're kind of painting the airplane while we're flying it here with this job fair. So if there's any questions anyone has, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I will get answers.
Okay. It tells me that my time is up. So I do want you to make sure that if you need me, you call me. If you need anything else, you let me know. And I will help you with anything I can. I promise. And thank you. I got a thank you from one of you. And that's perfectly wonderful. I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this because it's been fun. Absolutely fun. But just know, like Heidi said, this is the first time for all of us. So it's a new moment for this little lady. Thank you so much. Thank you. Heidi, last words?
I hate to say I'm glad you're retired, but I'm going to be begging you to come up to the Midwest and do my training. So thank the heavens you're retired because I got work for you, girl.
Well, I can't wait. You have no idea how much I'm ready to travel and go through all of this. So call me up. I'm ready to go.
Woohoo! Yes.
Perfect. All right, ladies, I'm going to be saying goodbye now. So thank you so much.